Hello and welcome to my left ear. I'm Carrie Freeman, and in the background is my co-host Petey Freeman. He pretty much does anything he wants to do while he's on the desk while I'm doing the show. So we're going to try to get him to turn around, and hopefully he will. He's been a little frisky this morning. This is video 285. It's September 25th, and I just want to mention I started cleaning out some things in my bedroom, and I had some jewelry that I just hadn't looked at in a really long time, and so I kept this because it was from a client when I worked at the rehab who had come from Dubai, an American woman. So I thought, I'm just going to put this on. So the necklace is from Dubai. It's crazy. She was American, and her husband was really successful at some kind of business in Dubai. I think they had a ton of money. She was miserable. She hated it. And my left ear knew that he had affairs, just to be really nice. She actually asked me once after she left if I would come to Dubai, and honestly, probably would have made a lot of money. I just didn't want to. I don't know. What can I tell you? Anyway, I just want to remind everybody that we're in this eclipse season, and anything can happen. So just be aware of that. Things happen, and they have been happening. Like, wow. The Jimmy Kimmel, 48 hours, 24-hour turnaround was very eclipsy, and the right thing happened. It was just, and when Jimmy came back, he just did, I thought, a perfect monologue. And I did know, being the daughter of a comic, how's he going to open? And he opened exactly as I thought he would. I know it sounds like I'm bragging, but I said, he's just going to say, so I had some things going on, or, as I was saying, and I went, anyway, he was great. And the yellow-haired guy is just going insane. That he can't get rid of anybody who makes a joke about him. But that's, because he has personality disorders and dementia. And there's Pete. I hope he comes back. And with dementia, because I keep reading about frontotemporal anger and rage, even especially more in men than women, is on point with that particular type of brain disease. And so there's no reporters writing about this, that this is an abnormal guy, like firing people and suing people and getting mafia revenge on people, and nobody's talking about it. But okay, here we go. The one thing I want to say, and I do have runes for you, little opinion unlimited. When Trump got up at the crazy Charlie Kirk memorial, and everybody, who kind of knows anything knows that, okay, he's gonna go off. He's really gonna go off, and he really did. But he said the word hate over and over and over. I mean, I just watched it and went, wow. And every time he said it, I hate my enemies. I noticed something a long time ago. I noticed that when he's kind of out of control, when he says these words or these short phrases, he gurgles. He growls and gurgles. It's like a combination. Oh my God. So he was growling and gurgling on the word hate, and he just kept emphasizing it. And I think maybe it was on the heels of Erica Kirk saying that she forgave the shooter. a hard thing to say after such an experience, but she did. And I do not trust her. Not about that moment, but just generally. And I do think they may lure her into the White House, but probably not, won't be successful. But she was in one of the beauty pageants that Trump owned. Little tidbit for you. So anyway, I imagine that when we get into some hotter campaigning, that all the Democrats, that are running midterms should be showing this video and even edit it more about I hate. And then it's not just I hate, it's with the growling and the gurgling. If you have an opportunity to see it again, you'll see what I'm talking about. Want you to know, this was always a story that fascinated me, but now it's so relevant to remind that in 1987, I had to look that up, I didn't know the year, a white Southern attorney named Morris Dees, and he was with the Southern Poverty Law Center, bankrupted the KKK. Bankrupted the KKK. Now that's very powerful. And it tells us the power of just ripping away money. So this just happened with ABC and Disney. Money was just ripped away from them by people. People who just turned it off. No more streaming, no more Hulu, no more. And then 400 or 500 celebrities, I don't want to work for you, and all this stuff. So money it speaks, it gets people's attention. Normally the people don't, but if they're driving the losses of money and income and all that, certainly does. So this is a really good lesson for us. I didn't want to spend any runes time on this guy, but this Pentagon's Pete Hegseth came up with this ruling that the Pentagon must approve all press reports, all, from the press corps. They can only write what the government tells them to or the government approves. I don't think it's going to fly, but it's being talked about. It just feels, completely anti-First Amendment and not what reporters do. So we'll keep an eye on it. He's so awful, this nasty little drinker, and other things. All right, this is really cool news. This is a fact. I get it from the Lincoln Project, okay? According to the numbers, there are 26 vulnerable MAGA representatives who spent more time defending the felon than defending the Constitution. Lincoln Project says we can beat them. We're pledging to target them in 2026. There's a whole list. I'm not going to read it to you, but that's a lot of Republicans that are vacating. And that's where I think they should be, playing that video of hate. It's really ugly. It's really mentally deranged and all that kind of stuff. And I just can't believe. I can believe it. It's happening in front of me, but I am revolted by much of the media and how it won't report very vital stuff. Now, we're going to get into more stuff, but there is a Tejano music star named Bobby Pulido. He's like giant with the Hispanics and in Texas. And they're saying that Bobby, could upend gerrymandering in South Texas because of his fame and his influence. He's the son of a migrant farm worker, and he can hit a bullseye from a mile out with a long-range rifle, and he's getting Democratic hopes up. So Bobby. Go Bobby. Now I'm going to talk about the Hague for a minute. Just briefly, not all of it. It's known as the global hub of international law and arbitration. It's the main judicial arm of the United Nations. I forgot where it's based in. It's like a Scandinavian city. I'm so sorry, I didn't. But the International Criminal Court is there, plus 200 other international government organizations. It's so powerful. And that's where Mr. Smith went back to, the great prosecutor. He was at The Hague, they brought him over and he went back, and who knows, we might see him again. So the runes now. Will anybody from Trump's circle stand before The Hague? Which deals with, it's like Putin should stand before, it deals with crimes against humanity and probably much more. We know I'm not an attorney. So I pulled the rune of fertility, but I pulled it twice. It's always interesting when that happens. And it's about new beginnings. Fertility, and it's a part of our nature towards actually adjusting and harmonizing with personal relationships. It marks a time of joyful deliverance. Now, if I just bring this up as a sample, that Tom Homan, who accepted a bag of $50,000, paper bag, that's a time of joyful deliverance for us. And then all that he's done with ICE, people dying, people in custody, ICE custody, dying, 2,500 that are missing from Alligator prison, concentration camp. It's telling me that he could really end up there. He could really end up in front, among others, in front of The Hague. Christie, Nome. Now, the second rune, so this is just 2 runes because there's fertility at the beginning and fertility at the end. And it's not fertility for Tom Homan or Christie Nome and whoever, and maybe, I don't know, but I'm feeling that some of them are going to end up crimes of humanity. Then I got constraint. It is a rune of challenge, and it's about people having dark places that are closed, don't have fresh air, don't have sunshine, and it's an opportunity to dispense with that which binds us to the dark. When this constraint appears, it's really saying you are going to be challenged. You guys are going to be challenged. It's the great teacher, and it deals with the shadow. So we know that not only Trump, but all these people he's assembled, have these shadow parts of them, or they wouldn't be able to do what they do. So Tom Homan, the border czar, he was actually recorded doing this bribe thing with the FBI that were undercover. Trump knew a long time ago, dismissed it. But now these crack reporters, Ken Delanian and Carol Lenig, blew this open. And so it's coming back, and Homan is a thug. That's what I have to say. So I asked the runes, will Homan get indicted or will he quit? So what's weird is I got the rune of partnership. But it's not exactly what you might think. It's not all like cozy partnership. It's saying, be sure to consider the meaning on this rune with a direct understanding of the question. So the message is always important with partnership, and it's up to interpretation. So, as they all are, they're up to my interpretation. here's what I found, the hidden gem in the rune of partnership, that it's always about, now get ready, supply and demand. I didn't write that. It's in Ralph Blum's wonderful book. So think about that. Handing the thug $50 in a brown paper bag. That was supply and demand. They wanted a favor. There was a demand. So it's poetic, all right? And this is about the partnership between the seller and the buyer. This is really literal. Then the self reversed. And it just says, I think it's like the advice, reconsider your situation, Tom. It's difficult to find one's place in the world if you are blocked. This rune, the self reversed, urges you to begin by being clear. Be clear. Look inside. Don't turn to others. The enemy of the progress is you. But he can't do that. You know, he's a hand-picked Trump person. And plus, he just looks like a thug. I mean, geez, some of these people are out of central casting. You know, Stephen Miller cast him, you know, as a Nazi. I mean, it's crazy. And so, HOMAN too. And it says, no matter what area of your life may be in disarray, consider you may need to recognize that the outer enemy is a reflection of yourself. All right. And then on HOMAN, which is really weird, the last rune I picked was wholeness, which is just usually like kind of what it sounds and sort of wholesome and what we all yearn for, wholeness. But through wholeness, a new, stronger, more solid and higher foundation is created. So that's not about his wholeness. It's about, as a result of these people being legally accountable, whether in the Hague or in the US, it's about us, you and I, beginning to return to wholeness. Just trust me on this, okay? You do know, I hope, that the guy with the yellow hair is losing massive Latino votes. Tons. Smart. And I don't know if I told you this. I want to make it really brief, but, you know, 4 days after the yellow guy's hair won, I was in Vallarta grocery store, which is Hispanic grocery store, and I get in line, and these two Latinos are in front of me, and they're wearing their red mags, and they're workers. They probably were picking up sandwiches or something, and they were very charming and flirtatious with me, and they made way for my stuff. And so I saw their hats, so I thought, oh, I'm just going to play with them a little bit. So I looked up at the guy that was standing next to me, and I said, so your guy won, right? And I was just like that, and he goes, yeah. And oh, we're so happy. And they were like, and so I said, well, you know, just so you know, I never fight, but I voted for the other guy. And honestly, the checkers froze, they froze, and I went, but you know, I don't get into fights with anybody. So, you know, don't worry about it. Why? And they went, oh, we made more money, and he's gonna be good for our military, and I'm just like, mm-hmm. So I want you to know, I'm telling you this story because I think they've probably been scooped up by ICE by now. I've thought about them. They were very sweet with me. They were just completely misguided, and I was not, they weren't going to listen to me. I didn't need to go there, but it was a really interesting experience. So, will Dems win the House? 26, the midterms. So, this is another mystery. There's a rune, I should have pulled it out or looked for it in advance. It's the blank rune. There's like, it's blank. So, I almost have this memorized, that it says blank is the end and blank is the beginning. And I kid you not, that is right from the book. And getting the blank rune should be taken as exciting evidence of our true destiny, which rises like the phoenix from the ashes of what is called fate. And that's a way I explain the trauma we've been through. That it was a come to Jesus moment, excuse me, and just, there's a word, inflection moment, but it's a symbolic death. And I wrote in here, of the GOP, okay? We're talking about the midterms. And it says it may relate to some part of your life that is no longer applicable. And the yellow-haired guy won't be here, I'm telling you that. You can be sure that the unknowable is at work, even though you can't see it, you rascals. And that, remember, that came up twice. So it says, forces are moving unseen in the background, are forces you have put into effect. But it says, represents the fertility, so here's fertility again, of the emptiness which you can fill up with a bounty. And then finally, gateway reversed, and this is for the GOP. Hasty decisions may cause regret. Impulses must be tempered. Do not go where you've not been before. Quote, I mean, it says that. And be still and collect yourself and wait on the will of heaven. All you Christians. That I added that. Okay, there is a quickening of development here. It's accelerated growth of a sort because it's so dramatic. And we may, and they may, both of us, may have reason to halt and reconsider something. So it says take advantage of the halts. And if you're undergoing difficulties, the nature of passage depends on the quality of your attitude and your clarity. And I believe the Democrats have the right attitude and they have clarity. What must happen for the sake of you and I and the entire United States? I mean, that's what's going on. There was one other thing that I didn't write down that I wanted to share with you, and now I can't think of it. I didn't do runes on this, so I'm just giving you from the ear. I do think there's going to be a shutdown. I'll be surprised if there isn't. And I don't think it'll last a long time. Just like Jimmy Kimmel didn't last a long time. It looked like death when this came down about him. On the heels of Stephen Colbert, you know. And it's because, just like I said, they started saying what I said. It was the video of Trump acting insane when asked about, how are you doing on the death of your dear friend? Oh, great, but look at this ballroom. That's what the sin was. He got injured. And so, you know, right now he's in that frontotemporal dementia rage. You know, I think the Comey thing is going to go nowhere. And it only has like 4 or 5 days, and then it's gone. I don't think so. All right, so good evidence, because I have a teeny bit of time here. I'm going to go really short here, but it was amazing. I think it was last Friday. I got a email, but it was in the format when I get orders for my book from my website, The Comics Daughter. They click and they can buy my book, and then it gets sent to them. I send it to them. So she wrote me a letter and said, you know, Carrie, I think we're related. And she starts naming these people on my father's side of the family that nobody really knows about anymore except me. I wrote a 5,000-page article about all those relatives and how Variety got started. I told you about that article. And I was like, this is not like a weird imposter. There's nobody that could know to say these names to me. There's an Aunt Hattie and a Jessie, and oh my God. So I wrote her back and I said, this is pretty amazing, and I'm going to call you over the weekend. So I called her and she answered, and we clicked. Immediately. She lives in Dallas, where I was born. What can I tell you? We clicked immediately, and then my ears said, because she was really curious about me, and she was really just a great personality, you know? And we liked each other immediately, and we were both like blown away. As a little girl, because she's younger than me, she had met Aunt Hattie, who had started Variety with my great uncle. Hattie designed the logo to Variety that's at the top of the buildings in New York and London and California. That's the logo. She designed it on a tablecloth, and my Sime, they were engaged, cut it out and took it to the office. That's Aunt Hattie. She was very eccentric. She almost deserves a book of her own. She had red hair. This woman who called me had met Aunt Hattie, she was still alive, as a little girl. And she told me she was, as an old lady, she was like really still beautiful. And she wrote, she had red hair, which she continued to dye. She was a natural redhead, and red lipstick. And I went, oh, that sounds like Hattie, you know, such a character she was. I can't find a picture of her, but she's going, this woman is going to look. Anyway, I said, so listen, I do have this YouTube, but I think we should, you know, divulge, you know, I am a Democrat, and the YouTube is liberal. It's not over the top, but it's liberal. And I don't like to fight with people. See, Pete came back. Come on, show yourself off. You're so handsome. And she said, well, I am a Republican, and we sort of said, it kind of doesn't matter between us. And it was a really great communication. And she said, no, I'm gonna look at it. And so she wrote me back and said, I looked at your YouTube. She didn't say she saw the thing, all of it, which that's good. I appreciate that. But she said nice things to me. Oh my God, you're so stunning, and da 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 da. And so I had sent her pictures. She thanked me for that. So I have this new friend, and she's a Republican. And we figured through the stories that she's a distant cousin. The next day, this is the Eclipse season, blew my mind. I mean, I was like, oh my heavens, I cannot believe that came out of the blue. But it was Eclipse just a couple of days ago. So I go to my local Ralph's for some grocery shopping in the morning, and I have a hat on, no makeup, and I cash out myself, and I start to walk towards the doors, and a woman taller than me stopped and said, Carrie? And I said, yeah. Now, I have an incredible memory for people's faces. I know if I've met somebody before. It's like I have pictures, and I had not met her before. So she has followed me on YouTube for a long time, and we sat there and talked. She goes, I can't believe this. She goes, this morning I thought I would contact you for a psychic, an hour psychic coaching. And she lives within walking distance of the Purple Palace. And she's coming in early October. This happened to me. I would call that good evidence, because it lit me up. It was like, whoa, they're just doing a lot of stuff up there, you know, in this end of the number 9 year. All right, so here's a quote. This is from the Complex PTSD Foundation, and that means like lifelong trauma on steroids, if you suffer that. And so here's what it says. I love it. Perfectionism is a self-destructive and addictive belief system that fuels this primary thought. If I look perfect and I do everything perfect, I can avoid or minimize the painful feelings of shame, judgment, and blame. That does speak of many human beings, but it also speaks of the yellow-haired man. He has so much shame and internal emptiness that he's reactive in that insane manner. But it's for everybody, because people do suffer from this perfectionism syndrome, it's a good reminder. And then I found something funny. It's a quote that I've known. I've always loved it. It's Dorothy Parker, who was, she was like the Carrie Fisher of her day. Very funny, very cutting. She was written about in Vanity Fair, blah, blah, blah. This is a quote. She goes, I require only 3 things in a man. He must be handsome, ruthless, and stupid. Dorothy Parker. Petey. I'm just going to turn this so you can see him. Petey, you just got exhausted, didn't you? But he's been fed his favorite food. He's been groomed with the rubber brush and then wipe him down with water. And so he's a happy camper. Yesterday, I tackled him on the floor, meaning my whole body was on him. And I cut his front paws because they were very sharp, and he likes to touch my face. He likes to, he thinks he's being very, or he's saying, feed me. And these claws. So at one point when I got on the second paw and I was really concentrated to get it done as fast as possible, I looked down and he was looking at me like, why are you doing this to me? It was so sad. I felt really bad, but his nails are trimmed. Anyway, much more to come from my left ear, from Petey, from the madman who hates and blames and feels victimized and is vengeful, everything we don't ever want to be and is temporary. So take that, and I will see you soon. And thank you for your patience as always. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.